If you have made it to this lesson in Module 1, then I assume that it's because you've already watched the Week 1 video presentation. If that's the case, then you're right on track. This week we are diving headfirst into the 4-week nutrition challenge. I have asked you to make quite a few dietary adjustments right out of the gate. These dietary tweaks are guaranteed to get you closer to your health goals if you put them into practice, starting today, and then consistently practice them for the next 4 to 6 weeks. These changes are the foundation when it comes to really taking back control of your health and regaining balance within your body. Now, I realize that I asked you to make a lot of adjustments this week, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. So I decided that I would take this opportunity to do a kind of show and tell with the most important food components of this week's challenge so that you have a visual example of what these changes will look like to your daily routine. Let's quickly review our adjustments for the week. This week we have 3 different types of challenges, and they are the subtraction challenges, the strategy challenges, and then the addition challenges. First up in the subtraction challenges was to purge the pantry and the refrigerator. Essentially, we are looking for foods and drinks that are packaged and preserved with excessive sugar, salt, and fat, as well as preservatives, artificial coloring, and artificial flavors. These ingredients are typically used by large food companies to get people hooked on food-like substances that are toxic to the body in some essential way. Artificial colors and flavors don't even sound good. And my rule of thumb is that if you have a hard time pronouncing the ingredients on the label or recognizing them for what they are, then don't put them into your body. Let me give you an example of a product that I found in an undisclosed refrigerator. This is a Diet Coke, a feisty cherry to be specific. Diet Cokes contain artificial sweeteners, specifically aspartame in this case. Now, I'm going to tell you more than you ever really wanted to know about artificial sweeteners in week 3 of this program and why they are so disruptive to your body's natural biological balance. So for now, I'll go ahead and skip that explanation. But I will tell you that this ingredient alone, the artificial sweetener, the aspartame, is a deal breaker in and of itself. Let's talk about some of the other deal breakers in this sody pop. Let's start with the caramel coloring. Caramel coloring, that seems harmless enough, right? Well, let's break it down. There are a few different types of caramel coloring. However, the most widely used ones contain an ingredient called 4-methylimidazole. I probably butchered that. In recent years, this byproduct has been stirring up controversy. It has been proven to cause cancer in rats, and if that's not enough already, caramel coloring can also increase blood pressure, decrease your body's amount of white blood cells, and potentially cause severe allergic reactions to gluten-sensitive individuals. Caramel coloring has absolutely zero nutritional value and can pose a wide range of serious side effects. Alright, so let's look at another ingredient. Let's do acesulfame potassium. Acesulfame potassium is known to produce post-metabolic methylene chloride. Long-term exposure to methylene chloride can cause headaches, nausea, kidney damage, liver damage, thyroid complications, and cancer. If you see an ingredient on the label of your food and you're not sure whether or not it's poison, then I suggest giving it a quick Goog. The internet button on the computer machine will tell you more than you ever really wanted to know about what's in your food. But this is just information. It's now up to you to decide what to do with it. My point here is that preserved foods are not meant to be ingested by human bodies. For the sake of long-term health, get these foods out of the pantry. They gotta go. Now let's talk about the second subtraction challenge for the week, removing added sugar. When we're talking about the big food industry in the United States, we cannot skip over their favorite tactic for getting people addicted to processed foods, and that would be added sugar. Added sugar is addictive, and this is a brilliant strategy. At the same time, added sugar is horrible for your health because it spikes your blood sugar and generates excessive inflammation in the body, leading to nutrient deficiencies and all kinds of negative health effects. So for that reason, we want to get as far away as possible from added sugars. Let me show you what else I found. This is coffee creamer. Specifically, this is Hazelnut International Delight. If we flip this puppy over and look at the ingredient list, we can find a whole list of unpronounceables. So that's fun. But we've already talked about the preservatives, and we generally know why preservatives are bad news. So we're going to focus on the sugar in this product. Here's a fun fact. When you look at the list of ingredients on a food, they are listed according to the quantity of each ingredient. So the most common ingredient is going to be listed first. The next most abundant ingredient will be listed second, and so on. If sugar is anywhere on this list of added ingredients right here, we don't want it. And you can also tell by looking at the nutritional breakdown on the back of a product. For example, you're looking at total sugars, you've got 5 grams, but then you look one row below it and it says added sugars, 5 grams. All of the sugars in this are added sugars. We want 0 grams of added sugars. The serving size for this product is 1 tablespoon, and there are 5 grams of sugar per serving. That means you have 1 tablespoon of this stuff in your morning coffee, and you have just started your day with a pretty real blood sugar spike. To put this into perspective, a fasting blood sugar test will tell you that the bloodstream of a healthy human body contains only about 4 grams of sugar at any given moment in time. When you add in an extra 5 grams of free sugar that is not bound to any form of fiber, and it's not mitigated by vitamins or minerals or enzymes that are found naturally in plant-based foods, then what that means is that you have essentially just dumped a whole bunch of glucose into your bloodstream, which causes a cascade of negative effects to occur. And we'll get more into the details of how that works next week. In week 2, we'll be talking about blood sugar. Long story short, toss out anything with added sugars and don't consume foods with added sugars for the rest of this 4-week nutrition challenge. So let's talk about the other subtractions for this week and just quickly review over them. Number 1, we're going to stop counting calories. Stop consuming alcohol, at least for the next 4 weeks. Next up, stop drinking coffee. This has got to go. Instead of coffee, I would suggest ordering something like dandelion tea. So this is the root from the dandelion plant, you know, that weed that grows in your yard. Well, it turns out that it's useful after all. The root of dandelion has been used as a coffee substitute for a very long time. I really like this brand. This is called Ticino, and I especially like this one. This is Dandelion Dark Roast. I use this as a coffee substitute whenever I'm feeling like I would like the flavor of coffee, but I don't want the caffeine ups and downs that come along with coffee. So this is amazing stuff, especially if you're trying to wean yourself off of coffee. I recommend giving it a try. You can find a large box like this on Amazon, and you can also get a variety pack so you can try out several different flavors. This one is the one that does in fact taste the most like coffee, so I highly recommend it. The ingredients include organic carob, organic chicory, organic dandelion root, organic Ramon seeds, organic natural coffee flavor. So good stuff. On top of that, I also add in a teaspoon of raw organic cacao powder. I find that that just kind of gives my coffee a little bit more of an oomph. Raw cacao does contain a little bit of caffeine, but the molecule that we're most interested in when it comes to raw cacao is theobromine. And it's one of those that actually helps your body to produce dopamine and helps you feel good throughout the day. So if you're weaning yourself off of coffee, I suggest doing something like this dandelion root tea, adding in a little teaspoon of this and maybe some homemade nut milk, and you're good to go. Now we'll move on to our strategy challenges. Our biggest strategical move for this week is to add in more nutrient-dense foods. If you remember, this is the Nutritarian food pyramid. I highly recommend, if you have a color printer, print this guy out and put it on your refrigerator and keep it up there so it's a good reminder of which foods you should be having in most abundance in your diet. The other strategy challenges included eating 3 meals a day, which means no snacking in between meals. We want designated meal times for the next 4 weeks. I also want you to try to eat light to heavy throughout the day. In other words, keep it relatively light in the morning, preferably with a green smoothie, and go progressively heavier as you get throughout the day. Some people like to have their heaviest meal at lunch, and that's fine as well if you feel like that's something that you need to do. All right, now let's finally get into the addition challenges for this week. And I want to give you some visual illustrations of what that looks like. First things first, when we wake up, we're going to have our warm lemon water with Himalayan or Celtic salt. So here's my warm water, and then I'm going to take anywhere from a half of a lemon to a whole lemon, and I'm going to juice that with my juicer right here, and then I'm going to crack in a little bit of this Himalayan sea salt. Himalayan or Celtic salt is higher in its mineral concentration and it's just a little bit more pure. You want to make sure you get the variety that does not contain any anti-caking agents. I prefer the actual whole rocks of the Himalayan salt, and then that way I get to just kind of crack it myself. So high quality salt is really important. Don't get iodized salt, make sure you get Himalayan or Celtic salt. So our second addition for the day is going to be a green smoothie. This is one that I made this morning and packaged up to bring with me. These things travel great throughout the day. If you don't have time to eat, if you've got a busy day, this is perfect to carry with you. Now, I gave you two options for green smoothies this week. You have the option of making the pure green smoothie, which is this. Pure green smoothies just contain greens, fruits, and water. That's it. Or you have the option of doing the Fab 4 smoothie. And the critical components of the Fab 4 smoothie are greens, a fat source, a source of fiber, and a source of protein. Something like collagen or whey protein or something like that. I like the Fab 4 smoothie and I think it's a great blood sugar regulator. But if you're really looking to detoxify your body throughout this 4-week challenge and you're really wanting to up your nutrition game, you're really wanting to clear up your skin, improve the quality of your hair, skin, and nails, reduce the inflammation in your body, I would highly, highly recommend going with the pure green smoothie. Let me tell you about the ingredients that are in this one specifically. To make this guy, I picked some fresh kale from the garden, then I threw in a handful of mixed greens, and then about half a bunch of cilantro. And then I used probably a 1/4 cup of cut up cucumber. And then for the fruits, I used the juice from 1 whole lemon. I cut up a mango, a half a banana, and probably a 1/4 to a half a cup of blueberries. So that is what is in this green smoothie for today. It is awesome. It has held me over for several hours and I am looking very much forward to finishing this thing as soon as this video is done. The next addition challenge for the day is going to be adding a large green salad before your lunch and dinner meals. So this one is what I would call average medium size, but this is large enough, especially if you've got some more grounding food that you're planning on eating for lunch or dinner. So what I included in this is a couple of handfuls of mixed greens, and then I added in some sliced tomatoes, some sliced cucumbers, some sliced onions, and then these are sunflower sprouts. And then I also added in pepitas and sunflower seeds. So this is already a pretty nutrient-dense salad, and that's going to be ideal for you to eat before lunch or dinner. It's going to be nice and alkalizing to the system. It's going to get all of those awesome vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and enzymes into your system to help to break down and metabolize those foods and contribute more to your health and your beauty energy. All right, so let's talk about salad dressings, because this is a common question that I get. What type of salad dressing do I use for my salad throughout the day? This is not a bad option. This is one salad dressing that you can in fact buy at some grocery stores. Specifically, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas. Whole Foods carries this one. This is a company from Austin, Texas that makes this and sends it to Little Rock. So I think it's really important anytime you're buying a bottled salad dressing to always look at the ingredients. Typically speaking, we want to stay far, far away from canola oil, but the exception is it cold pressed or expeller pressed? That tends to be okay. Is it non-GMO or organic? That tends to be okay as well. It tends to be the high degree of processing, the high heat, and the GMO foods that contribute to the inflammatory processes in the body. So this one is actually a good variety of canola oil. So the ingredients here: cold pressed non-GMO canola oil, cashews, gluten-free tamari. Gluten-free tamari contains water, soybeans, salt, and alcohol to preserve freshness, balsamic vinegar, wine vinegar, cooked grape must, and soy lecithin. So not a bad one. If you're going to buy something at the grocery store that's a bottled dressing, get something that's on par with this. And it also tastes good. So now if you're wanting to make your own homemade salad dressing, this is what I would recommend. First, I take some raw sauerkraut. I prefer making homemade raw sauerkraut. If you don't have any that you've already made, you can buy it at the store. You just want to make sure that your sauerkraut has not been pasteurized or processed in any way. It is the living probiotics and the living enzymes in this food that's going to take your health and pump it up to the next level. I also tend to like the flavor of this in my salad dressing. Other things that I'll use in salad dressing. Flax oil is a really good high quality oil that I would recommend using as a base for your salad dressing. The serving size is about 1 tablespoon, so use maybe that amount every day. That's great. I also like to use a little bit of vinegar. Vinegar has acetic acid, which is good for helping to stabilize your blood sugar levels, but it also adds a little bit more of a pop to the flavor profile of any salad dressing. This is an apricot white balsamic vinegar. Really great. I also love to add in the lemon juice from half of a fresh squeezed lemon or maybe a whole fresh squeezed lemon, depending on how big my salad is. It gives the salad just a little bit more of that sweet and sour flavor profile, which I really love. All right, the last thing that we're going to talk about in the addition challenge for this week is supplements. There is a whole range of supplement recommendations that I have for a person who is consuming the standard American diet. Americans are overfed and undernourished, and as a result, nutrient deficiencies are unfortunately way more common than they should be. This is bad because nutrients are the building blocks of our bodies. If we don't have the essential nutrients that we need in order to thrive, then this is when disease states begin to develop and we start to lose vital energy and become sick. It's not worth it to allow your body to slip into a state of disrepair if you can at all help it. And that is because it's so much easier to just maintain good health than to try to bring yourself back from a state of bad health. And with that being said, I have designed this program to really ideally provide you with all of the fundamental nutrients that your body needs in order to thrive. And of course, I want you to check out the supplement recommendations that I've made, but my first suggestion is to introduce more nutrient-dense foods into your diet and implement the strategies that I recommend in this program so that you can minimize the amount of pills that you have to swallow on a daily basis. All right, so now that you have some specific examples of how to put this diet into practice, I challenge you to go out and make it happen this week. I look forward to seeing you in this week's group chat. Keep an eye out for email reminders. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.